Hi, everyone. Welcome to Milestone 8 of the Data and Research Methods Project, organized by the National Student Data Corps. My name is Lauren, and I am a member of the NSDC project team. In this video, I'm going to walk you through Milestone 8, which is found in Document D of your project packet. As you can see, milestone number 8 is about summarizing our conclusions. This should take you about 2 hours to complete. So let's get started. A senior colleague at the Office of the Mayor, Camille, asks you to write up your research conclusions. This is all that we worked on in Milestone 8 last time. Camille is a researcher and a public policy strategist. Your conclusions for Camille should include at least 2 data-driven recommendations for the city of Data Lake. So this is what we've been building up to throughout the project. Your summary will also be the basis for the research visualizations we'll develop next time in milestone number 9. Before you get started, Camille suggests you take a look at the following 2 resources, which are linked here in document D. First, we'll learn to tell a compelling data-driven story, and then we're going to further explore data storytelling with the short video series from the National Student Data Corps. So I'm going to pause the video, take a look at those 2 resources, and come back here when you're done. Welcome back to Milestone 8. You should now be done reviewing the 2 resources that Camille shared with you previously about data storytelling. At this stage, we are ready to dive into task 17. What you want to do first is go back and review your research findings from Milestone 7. We're now going to tie together all of those findings for the Office of the Mayor. Begin by writing down some initial responses to the below questions and use your answers to shape your written summary. So this is all going to build up into the written summary that we draft below. These are some of the questions that the mayor and her staff are very likely to ask you in a meeting. So this would be something that if you worked in industry, your boss might ask you a similar question when you do a related research project. So take a look at each of these questions. There are a total of 6 questions. I recommend just drafting 2 to 4 sentences in response to each. You may not have a great answer for each of these questions here. Again, it really depends on the research question that you've built in milestone number 6. So again, just do the best that you can. So spend a little bit of time on this. I'm going to pause the video again. Come back when you're done writing. Welcome back, everyone, to milestone number 8. You have just finished task 17, and we're now going to move on to a more direct drafting and writing about our research insights in this upcoming task number 18, drafting executive summary. So based on your responses above, what we're going to do right now is write about 10 to 12 sentences on your initial conclusions in the form of what we call an executive summary. So what is an executive summary? I've provided a link for you here to start reading more, but essentially a research paper ES or executive summary is a way to quickly share information with upper management, what your insights are in a given research topic. So you're distilling all of your critical insights and you're prompting actions in this higher executive team based on your analysis. So the key goal, of course, of an ES is to save your readers time. They're very low on time, right? And you want to highlight for them just essential information. And then I've provided here some info about how you might want to structure your ES or executive summary. So you want to share, and a lot of this is echoed in the questions you answered in task 17. So you're going to want to provide info about the purpose of your study. So you're just reiterating here, what are your aims? In particular, this study was requested by the city of Data Lake as the city has seen an uptick in the number of remote workers, right? You want to share your methodology. This would be a brief description of the process that you use to compile and analyze your data. So here you would say like your data is from the CDC. You began with an analysis of the questionnaire, then you looked into specific variables in the data, right? Then you're going to share your findings. So this would be information that you learned about in the last milestone. Really important here too are the recommendations. You've been tasked in this project to share at least 2 data-driven recommendations based on your findings. You're going to want to this maybe to some of the data that we learned about the city of Data Lake back in milestone number 1. Equally important as your recommendations to share any limitations you think are in your report. So if there are factors that you can't identify or that may impact your study but are hard to measure, you want to note that here. This is a space to say, I think I'm right, but here's why I may not have a full picture. So for example, you could say this data from our survey is self-reported. So if, for example, your recommendations are in some way related to children's mental health or their education, you would say this, again, this is self-reported, so we don't know, another perspective from the children's teachers or other community members, how well they're really doing, okay? So just keep in mind, there's like always these caveats that you want to mention, and this is a great way to sort of include for the mayor what you think could be done better if you were to dive deeper into this space. Then you want to include some ways that you think that this policy or these recommendations that you're making can be implemented. What are specific pieces of guidance that you want to share? So if your recommendation is to say, we need more co-working spaces downtown, your implementation strategy would be to say, in order to do this, we need to increase our budget in this space. So be like really specific, tie it back to like, what can your manager do with your insights? And then I would say just tie a bow on it at the end, a 1-sentence summary conclusion of all of your points above. Just wrap it up nicely. Okay, so spend some time on this. This will be really like a great overview of all the good work that you've been doing so far. What I definitely recommend for you is to draft this, take a look at it, set it aside, come back in a few days if you need to revise it. Give yourself, space to really absorb and then regurgitate information. When possible, try to include specific data points from your research, references from your desk research back in milestone 1, information that we know from the Office of the Mayor from milestone 1. Whenever possible, just cite your research. This is a really good habit. If you do that, try to use APA style, or I'm not going to grade you on your implementation of a citation style. This is just to get you into the habit of being really conscientious about saying where your data is coming from. And at this point, when you're writing your final report here, you're going to want to think about how you can share the key points of this argument with your audience. What specific insights do you want them to like retain in their mind as they're reading the report? What I usually say is that if there's anything in your research that makes you say, wow, or like, that's really surprising, I wasn't expecting that, that's something that we're going to want to bookmark for a visualization. So again, as this note says here, keep kind of a mental note of those wow factors. We're going to explore the ways that we can articulate that in a visualization in the next milestone. So I'm going to pause the video again, come back when you're done writing. This milestone may take you some time to complete, requires some critical thinking. You're tying all the pieces together. Don't forget to come to the Slack channel for the NSDC if you want to ask others for their feedback or inputs. Good luck with your writing. Come back when you're ready, and we'll see you in a bit. All right, I'll welcome back to milestone 8. You have done a ton of work to get so far in this project. Good for you. Your written summary that you just completed is in a lot of ways a culmination of all this work that you've done throughout the project, and you're almost at the finish line. Take a little bit of a breather, and then when you're ready, turn to milestone number 9, where we're going to get into visualizations and graphs where we can just pull all of your work together. Great job.